John McLaughlin, let's take a look at the House of Representatives. And I just want all the viewers to understand that even though a number of these people may not be their representatives, they vote on issues that affect them across the board. So they can still support them, you know, financially. But even more, people who live in these districts, they really need to turn out. Let's take a look at several of them. These are these tight districts. Virginia 7, Dave Bratt. He beat Eric Cantor in the primary a few years back. He's part of the Freedom Caucus, a leader in the Freedom Caucus. He's facing Abigail Spanberger, who's a former CIA analyst, but a hardcore leftist. And she's running as a moderate and a CIA analyst. How's that race look?
Well, that's a district that Donald Trump won by 6. It's a really dead-even race right now. But those suburban voters in Chesterfield County, if they don't vote for Dave Bratt, you're going to get a Democrat who's going to raise their taxes
and vote for impeachment.
Oh, absolutely.
Barbara Comstock, she's the last Republican in the little circle around Washington, D.C. suburbs, Fairfax, McLean, Loudoun County. She's the incumbent running against Jennifer Wexton, who is the biggest taxing Democrat in the state Senate in Virginia.
Yeah.
Tight race.
Tight race. And Barbara, I've always done her polling. And we've never released it, but we released one a couple of weeks ago where she was ahead by a point. And the Washington Post, the rest have ridiculed this, but let me tell you, she's the hardest working person. She represents her district extremely well, and she always defies the polls. Because last time, Hillary Clinton won her district by 10 points, and she won by 6.
And she's being targeted by leadership. She's being targeted by Bloomberg. She's being targeted by the Washington Post. Dana Rohrabacher, California 48 versus Harley Rauda, I guess the name is. Rohrabacher was a speechwriter. I remember him in the White House for Ronald Reagan.
In the 90s.
In the 90s. He's been around for decades. Huntington Beach in that area. What's it look like?
That's one where, since they're not getting the blue wave, the Democrats are putting in a green wave. Mike Bloomberg just put $5 or $6 million in there to try to beat him. And Dana was a little ahead in the polls, so that's another race where we got to get our people
another turnout race. Yep. These are all turnout races.
They got to send their mail-in ballots.
A lot of these, your point are Republican districts.
Yes.
So if Republicans and Trump supporters and they turn out and vote, we win.
Yes.
George Holding versus Linda Coleman, North Carolina 2nd.
Another one of my candidates, extremely close. There's been a C4 from the Democrats attacking us on different issues. But Coleman's on the ropes right now because she supports sanctuary cities and higher taxes.
Most of them do, don't they? The Democrats, unbelievable.
You know what you're going to get if
they're running on open borders, sanctuary cities, higher taxes,
government-run health care,
foreign policy. Yeah, a top-down government-run health care, eliminating Medicare. It's incredible. John Faso versus Antonio Delgado. Faso is the Republican in the New York 19th district. Right. How do you see it?
That one is dead even. The polls have us dead even. I do the polling for John. John is a very solid candidate, but Delgado came in. He raised $3.6 million the last quarter. He doesn't even live there. He just got parachuted in by Pelosi to try to take this away from the people of upstate New York. Yes, very tight race.
Okay. Lee Zeldin versus Perry Gershon. Now, Lee Zeldin, I happen to know. He's a combat vet.
Solid.
He is a wonderful guy. He's a solid Republican and a conservative. And they're targeting him with this hard left-wing radical who has a lot of money in Long Island.
Right.
New York 1, what's it look like?
Gershon's spending a lot of ads, absolute stuff that's not true on Lee, saying he would take away people's health care, et cetera. I mean, Lee is a solid conservative, and Gershon's spending a lot of money, but people love Lee out there.
It's tight.
They know him as an Iraq War veteran. Yeah, it's tight.
Florida 27, Maria Salazar, the Republican, versus Donna Shalala, the former Clinton administration official. I understand it's a largely Hispanic district, and she doesn't speak Spanish.
Shalala doesn't.
Right, that's Shalala. Obviously, Salazar does.
Maria,
how's that district?
Salazar was the Mega TV broadcaster down there, and she's very, very well known. This was one the Democrats thought they had in the bag, and now they're finding out that they're actually losing. So this one the Republicans can keep.
Carlos Curbelo, the incumbent Republican, versus Debbie Muscarsell, I guess.
Right.
What's that look like?
Carlos is very popular down there, and that's one where the Democrats are really targeting him, a lot of money, outspending him in the final week. But you know what? The voters like Carlos, and the Cuban vote for him is solid. So if the Cuban vote comes out and the other Hispanic votes come out for Carlos, he'll win.
Robert Woodall versus Carolyn Bordeaux, Georgia 7.
That's a district where The Democrats are trying to make inroads into the suburbs of Atlanta, but the governor's race is affecting it. So you've got this governor's race where basically they're trying to turn out their troops and beat us with turnout. So he's in good shape, but he's got to get through the turnout on Tuesday.
California 10, Jeff Denham versus Josh Harder. That's a tough one.
Very close race right now. Very close race.
California 45, Mimi Walters, the incumbent Republican,
again,
versus Katie Porter.
Another very, very close race. That depends upon,
Where is that, Anaheim, that area?
Yeah. So,
boy, they used to be solid Republican. All that Orange County, it's unbelievable what's happened there. Iowa 3rd, David Young versus Cindy Axne. David Young being the Republican.
Well, last week, Ivanka Trump went out there at the end of the week to campaign for. That's a critical race where they tried to make trade an issue, and guess what? Donald Trump got a new deal with Canada and Mexico.
Has that helped?
That helped. Plus, he's also straightening out China, so that helps because a lot of this Iowa is about corn, soybeans. Their whole economy is agriculture.
A tight race.
It's a tight race.
Illinois 6, Peter Roskam, who is part of Republican leadership, versus Sean Casten.
Right, that's the one in Republican leadership they're really going after, and that district's changed because it's suburban Chicago. So he's in a tight race, but the Republicans should be able to win that one if they come out and vote.
Kentucky 6, Andy Barr versus Amy McGrath. I mean, the president has campaigned for Andy Barr.
Yes, and that one, if our voters come out, if they're not complacent and they come out in that part of Kentucky, he should be able to win.
All right,
Republicans should be able to keep that.
We've got a lot more. Going to finish the House, get into some of these governorships. We're not doing this because we like just mentioning names and districts and so forth. We're doing this because you folks out there, the American people, need to know what's going on in your states and in your districts.